Hey everyone, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Today we're going to start with just going over basic addition and subtraction, and then we're going to start looking at word problems. So the first page I have for us is just combined addition and subtraction problems. So here we have 9 minus 3. So we would start with 9. So you start with 9, and we're going to take 3 of those away. So I take 3 away. We are left with 6. Over here we have 3 plus 9. So we would have 3 and then plus 9. So when we add those together, we get 12. Next one we have 3 plus 6. So when we start with 3 and then we add 6, when we add those together, we get 9. Our next one we have 0 plus 7. So that just would be 7. Next one we have 3 plus 0. So 3 and 0 gives us 3. Next one we have 8 minus 1. So we start with 8 and we take away 1, which gives us 7. For our next one we have 6 plus 2. So we have 6 plus 2. When we add those together, we get 8. Now we have 8, and we're going to take away 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that leaves us with 1. Next one we have 2 plus 1. So we have 2 plus 1, which gives us 3. Our next one we have 8 plus 8. When we add those together, we get 16. Our next one we have 2 plus 9. And that, when we add those together, gives us 11. Next we have 5 minus 4. So we're going to start with 5 and we're going to take away 4. And that leaves us with 1. So then we have 5, and we're going to take away 1. So we start with 5, we take away 1, and that leaves us with 4. Here we have 9. We're going to take away 3. So 9 minus 3 gives us 6. For our next one, we have 4 plus 1. And 4 plus 1 is 5. Now we have 2 plus 6. When we add those together, we get 8. We're going to start with 9. And we're going to take away 0. So 9 minus 0 is 9. Okay. Our next one, we have 5 plus 5. When we add those together, we get 10. Here we're going to start with 4, and we're going to take away 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. Next we have 6 plus 8. 6 plus 8, when we add all those together, is 14. This one we're going to start with 9, and we're going to take away 6. So 9 minus 6 is 3. This one we're going to start with 4, and we're going to take away 1. So 4 minus 1 gives us 3. Next we're going to start with 5. We're going to add 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Our next one is 7 minus 5. So we start with 7, and we're going to take away 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. Our next one, we're going to start with 8. And we're going to take away 3. 8 minus 3 leaves us with 5. Our next one, we have 4 plus 7 . When we add those together, we get 11. Our next one, we're going to start with 4. We're going to take away 0. 4 minus 0 leaves us with 4. Our next one, we start with 6, and we're going to take away 5. 6 minus 5 leaves us with 1. Our next one, we're going to start with 8, and then we're going to take away 8. So 8 minus 8 gives us 0. And then for our last one, we start with 1, and we're going to add 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay. So now that we worked on our addition and subtraction, I want to go ahead and look at word problems with you. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at some words that'll tell you what operation it is. So for addition, some phrases you might hear are plus, and, total of, altogether, increased by, combined, add, sum, together, more than, added to, in all, and make. So all these words are going to tell you that you're adding two numbers together. The next operation is subtraction. Subtraction words would be subtract, gave, take away, decrease by, fewer, minus, shared, fewer than, less than, difference, and less. Multiplication words would be times, double, which means to multiply by 2, triple, which means to multiply by 3, product, multiplied by, of, increased by a factor, twice, and multiple. For division, your words would be quotient of, per, ratio of, divided by, half, divisor, divided into, percent, split up. Then when we look at equals, we have is, are, were, was, will be, yields, or sold for. All tell you that something will equal. Okay, so with those in mind, we're going to look at some word problems. First thing we have to do with word problems is read it, and then we're going to pick out the important information and the question. So if we look at number 1, it says, there are 6 pencils in the drawer. Melanie placed 5 more pencils in the drawer. How many pencils are there in total? So we know that we started with 6 pencils. There were 6 pencils, and she put 5 more pencils, and now they want to know how many pencils are there in total. So our keyword here is more. Because more means we're going to add. So our equation would look like six. I don't want that. So we have 6 plus 5 equals, and 6 plus 5 is 11. Okay. So our next problem, we have Sam picked 2 apples and Mike picked 8 apples from the apple tree. How many apples were picked in total? So we know Sam picked 2 apples, Mike picked 8 apples, and then our keyword right here is and means addition. So now we're going to look at how many apples were picked in total. Our equation would look like Sam picked 2 apples plus Mike picked 8 apples, so in total we have 10 apples. Number 3, there are 5 oak trees currently in the park. Park workers will plant 6 more oak trees today. How many oak trees will the park have when the workers are finished? So we know that there are 5 oak trees currently, and they're going to plant 6 more. So we want to know how many oak trees will the park have when the workers are finished. So our keyword here is more. More means addition. So we have 5 oak trees, plus we're going to get 6 more oak trees, and in total we'll have 11 oak trees. Okay. Number 4, Sally's cat had 8 kittens and 7 had spots. She gave 2 to her friends. How many kittens does she have now? So this one is kind of a trick problem because it has information we don't need. So we know that Sally's cat had 8 kittens, and we know she gave 2 to her friends. So that's our important information. This right here where it says and 7 had spots, that's not important. We don't care about that information because that's not telling us how many kittens she has. So we want to know how many does she have now. So this problem is going to be subtraction. So she started with 8 kittens, and then she gave 2 kittens away, and now she has 6 kittens. Number 5. Number 5 says Tim grew 5 cantaloupes. Tom grew 3 cantaloupes. How many cantaloupes did they grow in all? So we know that Tim grew 5 and Tom grew 3, and then it's asking how many did they grow in all. In all is our key word, and that tells us that we're going to add them together. So we have Tim's 5 cantaloupes plus Tom's 3 cantaloupes, and together 5 plus 3 gives us 8. So in all, they grew 8 cantaloupes. Okay, our next one. There were a total of 9 basketball games this year. 6 are played at night. Mike missed 2 of the games. How many basketball games did Mike go to in all? So we know total of 9 basketball games. And he missed 2 of the games. So that's our important information. So our information about 6 are played at night, that's trick information that we don't need because it doesn't have anything to do with our question of how many basketball games did Mike go to. So there's 9 games and he missed 2, which means he didn't go. So we have 9 minus the 2 games. 9 minus 2 is 7. So he went to 7 games in all. Number 7. Verse 7 says, Tom has 7 yellow balloons, but lost 2 of them. How many yellow balloons does Tom have now? So he has 7, and he lost 2. So how many does he have now? So this is our important information right here, is how many does he have now? Okay, so we started with 7, and he lost 2. So lost means subtract. So 7 minus 2 gives us 5. Tom has 5 balloons now. Okay, number 8. A restaurant served 2 hot dogs during lunch and 4 during dinner today. It served 6 of them yesterday. How many hot dogs were served today? So this is another one that has some trick information in it. So we know that they served 2 hot dogs during lunch and 4 during dinner. And those are both done today. So that's important. Because our question is asking how many were served today. Okay, so telling us that they served 6 yesterday, doesn't help answer our question, so that's not information that we need. So our keywords that we're looking at are today. So we know what information is important, and, because and tells us that we add. So our equation is going to look like this. We had 2 hot dogs during lunch plus 4 during dinner. That equals 6 hot dogs served today. Number 9. Mary found 8 seashells and 3 starfish, but 3 of the seashells were broken. How many unbroken seashells did Mary find? This is another one that has trick information in it. So we know that she found 8 seashells and that 3 of the seashells were broken. So how many unbroken seashells did Mary find? So knowing that she had 3 starfish isn't important. So our keyword here is but, because but tells us we're going to subtract. So our equation is going to be Mary found 8 seashells, but 3 of the seashells were broken. So Mary found 8 minus 3 is 5. Mary found 5 unbroken seashells. And our last problem, Sarah had 8 dimes and 7 quarters in her bank. Her sister borrowed 4 quarters. How many quarters does Sarah have now? Okay, so Sarah has 7 quarters and her sister borrowed 4 quarters. So how many quarters does Sarah have now? So our unimportant information would be the dimes, because it doesn't matter how many dimes she has, we're only asking about the quarters. So she had 7 and her sister borrowed. So borrowed would be our keyword right here. So our equation would look like this. She had 7 quarters and her sister borrowed 4, which means she doesn't have them anymore. So how many does she have now? 7 minus 4 is 3. So our answer is 3 quarters. So this is where we're going to go ahead and stop at for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And if I don't hear from you, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all next week.